Okay, in today's video, we're going to go over classes and what that means in Python. So right now, we'll use the example of a cell phone. Now, let's think about cell phones as a class. So cell phones are a type of object, right, that we use every day. But there are many different types of cell phones, different manufacturers, different models, and they vary in price, right? So let's write a class for cell phones, right? So first things first, how we initiate a class is by typing the reserved word class, right? And then let's call it cell phone. And then uh, to actually initiate it, we uh, type in def and then init and then self, right? So that's how you initiate a class, right? So now let's define the characteristics or the attributes of a class. We have to initialize those attributes. So first things first is self is always the first attribute, right? And let's say manufacturer. So manufact is the first attribute, model is the second attribute, and price. These are the three attributes we're concerned with today, all right? So we have to go through and initiate these attributes, right? So self dot manufacture manufact is equal to manufact. Self dot, let's say, and let's go ahead and change it up and say model is equal to model. I'll go back here so we're not confused. Good styling. To not confuse these two. And then self dot retail price is equal to price. All right. So now that we've set and initialized these attributes, now let's go ahead and set different methods that accept the argument for manufacturing, model, and price, right? So let's go here and uh, set the phone's manufacturer, right? So def set manufact. It's always self that, and then manufact is the attribute. So you type in self underscore manufact pops up here automatically, right? Is equal to manufact. And then let's go ahead and do this for model as well. And we're going to do the same for model in setting the method. And we're going to do the same for retail price. And now we're going to go ahead and create a method that will return to the user the manufacturer, the model, and the retail price. So what we do is simply type in def get manufact itself, and then we'll return self dot manufact, right? And we're going to do this for the other two, and we're going to go fast forward and do the other two, so you're not just sitting here watching me type the same thing over and over. Okay, here, so we've set the cell phone class, defined its attributes, and we'll return those attributes to the user. So let's create a program, a separate .py file that will test this cell phone class. Okay, I've created a separate .py file that's a cell phone test file, and so here we'll call the class cell phone. All right, and that's how we call it. We type in import cell phone, and then we'll go ahead and create a function that calls that requests the cell phone data. So we'll create a variable here inside this function, and we'll ask the user to input, enter the manufacturer. And then we'll create another variable and ask the user to enter the model number. And then we'll create another variable that will ask to input, enter the retail price. And if you notice, I've already assumed that the user is going to input a floating point number for the price, right? And then here we're going to call for a phone, and we'll call cell phone dot cell phone, and then within that we'll ask for the manufacturer, the model, and the retail price, and we'll input all of that data that the user put into these local variables into the cell phone class, right? And then we'll print off, here is the data that you entered. Okay. And so here we also want the program to print the manufacturer, and then we'll type in phone.get manufact. And then here we'll also print model number, right? And phone.get model. And finally, we want to print out the retail price, and it'll be in dollars for sure. And then we want to print out the model number, and since it's in dollars, it'll be a flowing notation point number, so we have to format that number properly for it to print out, right? So we'll type in format phone.get retail price, and then we'll say we want it to 2 decimal points of accuracy, and then want it to be separated by at least a space. All right. And then down here, we'll call the main function, right? So let's go ahead and run cell phone test. And here, it'll ask for the manufacturer, and it'll be, let's say, a Samsung. Model number, say it's a 10. Retail price, $500. And here it returns the manufacturer is Samsung, model number is 10. Forgot a colon here. And then the retail price is $500. And notice how this will feature right here. This format set it up so that the 500 is only 2 decimal places and right next to the dollar sign. So that's a class. This can be applied to anything. You could apply it to cars, insects, like in the modules, or what have you. So we'll be playing around with this a lot more throughout this lesson and this module, and definitely throughout the class. And hope you got something out of this.